Your Excellencies, representatives of the governments and organizations, distinguished private sector leaders and entrepreneurs. It's a big honor to be here to pronounce these closing remarks. And at the outset, please let me express profound gratitude to all those who have made this event a reality. Now, this business forum today has provided us with an excellent opportunity to hear distinguished speakers provide their expert assessment on a number of key topics affecting the strategic economic relationship between the EU and the GCC. The theme today was people, place, and prosperity. And there have been discussions about the importance for both the EU and the GCC to have to ensure that our people have the right skills for the future inclusive and sustainable growth. Panelists and speakers have briefed us on the latest developments in key economic sectors, have shared their forecasts and scenarios for the future. As such, this event has provided excellent foundations to enhance further cooperation between public and private sectors in both the EU and the GCC. We heard most relevant views about innovation, digitalization, about maximizing business opportunities from the green transition, about safeguarding supply chains and how to improve the investment environments, just to mention a few highlights. We should tap on the full potential of these new emerging dimensions of cooperation between our regions in order to increase trade and investment. As indicated this morning by Executive Vice President Dombrovskis, the EU is keen to continue discussions to improve our understanding of our respective positions on deepening trade relations. But we are also very keen to explore ways to strengthen our trade and investment dialogue, including in areas such as renewable energy, sustainable supply chains and technologies, or in promoting digital trade. For example, I understand that we heard insights today about new concepts of Industry 5.0 and technologies in action in urban contexts, smart cities, where both sides can engage and develop concrete business opportunities in new sustainable technologies. But one thing that I would like to say as concluding remarks is to stress once again the importance of investment as a critical factor for economic growth and jobs in all countries of the world. Of course, in the European Union, we are acutely aware that our economy benefits immensely from being open to trade and investment to create value-adding business and employment. In fact, the European Union is at the same time the biggest recipient of foreign direct investment and the biggest provider of foreign direct investment abroad, both if you measure by stocks and by flows. And in particular, investments make very important contributions to international competitiveness of companies. They boost trade, they foster research and innovation, and create jobs. EU inward FDI as well as EU outward FDI support more than 10 million jobs in both ways. So the good news is that bilateral investment between the EU and the GCC has increased in recent years, and this clearly offers a very important springboard for further interesting discussions with our GCC partners on sustainable growth and the latest technology and innovations, as there are so many opportunities lying ahead. In the complex geopolitical environment in which we are operating, diversification and resilience are essential for the European Union, and we have heard that the GCC countries also have a similar renewed determination post-pandemic to diversify their economies. We do wish to see that investment by EU companies to the GCC will have a crucial role in this transformational process and importantly contributing to the achievement of strategic economic development goals. My briefing says that I should stress that the EU and the GCC are indeed partners in progress, and I must say that I like this expression very much. So my conclusion before closing, I again wish to express profound gratitude to the organizing team, to all the colleagues who have made this event possible, and of course all the people who have worked and are still working on this event. And also thank you all participants, either here in Brussels or online, for your extremely important contributions to this business forum. Thank you very much.
The title of today's event, as you have seen and is on the screen, is People, Place and Economy, Rebuilding After the Pandemic. And what we've heard from the panel discussions today is that each of these elements is in a relationship with each of the others. And in order to successfully rebuild, we have to take coordinated action in all of these policy areas. Now, the pandemic, as we all know, has been a tragedy for the entire world, with a devastating loss of life and decimation of many parts of the global economy. But if any good is to come from the virus, it is the realization that the world cannot continue in the same way as before the pandemic. Indeed, many commentators have described this as the Great Reset. Nothing we can do to change the past, but everything we do changes the future, and that future begins today. As we have heard in our discussions, what shape this reset may take and its implications for the peoples of the EU and the GCC is still under debate. Our speakers have shared their views on the impacts it will have on the places where we live and work and on our future economic structures and activities. I think, as we've heard, the world's future depends on a healthy planet. Whilst climate change is clearly a threat, it is also an opportunity for our business communities to demonstrate their potential. It has been proven time and time again that a strong economy and a healthy environment go hand in hand. Significantly, and this is my takeaway from the event, there is one common factor underlying all of the dimensions that have been discussed today, and that common factor is technology. It is no exaggeration to say that technology is and will continue to change our lives in many ways, economically, socially, and physically. We ignore the development of technology at our peril. We need to embrace it, to adopt it, to apply it, and to develop it. If we fail to prepare for technological change, then we should be prepared to fail to take the opportunities arising from it. And there are many opportunities arising from it. For example, a recent Dell Corporation report estimates that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't been invented yet. And indeed, until 2 weeks ago, I didn't know what a graphic harvester was. But given the reaction to your reaction to the graphics today, you have a bright future, Christoph. The key thing about technology is, as we've heard, it is constantly developing. And as we've heard in the discussions on panel 3, innovation is required by our business communities. This conference is part of the process of preparing for this change. At previous EU-GCC business forums, we highlighted that these events are an excellent foundation to enhance future cooperation between public and private sectors, both in the EU and the GCC. But business forums are not the end of the process. In many ways, they are merely the beginning. Whilst conferences provide an excellent vehicle, as we've seen today, for raising and debating issues, it is important, as we've heard from our speakers, that our discussions are the beginning of a deepening and continuing process of EU-GCC cooperation, particularly in terms of business-to-business contacts. We need to do more to connect our respective business communities. I'm pleased that on the website platform for this business forum, we were able to offer a facility for B2B matchmaking. Now, I view this as a pilot, and if the evaluation of it is positive, we can establish it as a permanent standalone facility for both EU and GCC businesses to connect with each other, particularly SMEs. And of course, there is our own project, the EU-GCC Dialogue on Economic Diversification. We are a unique resource for both the EU and the GCC. I see our core skills lying in making connections. We can provide the link between the right people, ideas, knowledge, and resources to bring about the strongest possible outcome. So please use us to assist you to achieve your economic development objectives. However, as we heard in the last panel on investment facilitation, context is everything. In support of the transition to the economy of the future, based on knowledge, promoting innovation and research and development, it is incumbent on all policymakers to seek to improve our respective business environments and for policymakers to view their role differently. The regulatory regimes, both de jure and de facto, will need to provide investors, particularly in the fast-changing world of technology development, with considerable freedom to operate in a dynamic market environment while safeguarding legitimate societal objectives. Countries aspiring to develop and diversify their economies will have to unlearn the old approach to regulations. Governments will need to adopt a new approach, relying on smart risk management and a more nuanced method of regulatory government based on trust, i.e. the belief that the vast majority of investors have good intentions and do not require heavy scrutiny at every stage. And I was very pleased to hear in the last panel session that principle, I think, has been accepted, and indeed we can see the change and the quite dramatic change in the regulatory environments of the GCC. And indeed, it's perhaps been a difficult mind shift to make, but it is an essential one. Although arduous, unlearning is often a prerequisite to learning. So, without further ado, and to allow you to join us for a cocktail, let me leave you with the thought that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Thank you all.